Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Bedtime with Tomi. This evening we will be reading chapter 15, David. In the early afternoon, David marched briskly at a pace that would have impressed any general of the British Army up to the apartment of 1A of Kensington Palace. He pounded on the front door with determination. "Is the Prince of Wales awake yet?" he inquired impatiently. "No, sir. Should he be?" "His diary was clear last we checked. Dr. Evans prescribed rest for the day as the best medicine," responded Parker, the butler who had served on Eddie's staff since childhood. "Unfortunately, Parker, there was an incident yesterday. I need him up for a chat before he sees his father." David frowned. Resigned, the butler solemnly nodded. "Yes, sir." David awaited Eddie in his gaming room. He paced the room to and fro, hands tucked behind his back, contemplating his next move. "What can I say to him that might make a difference this time? It's as if whatever I tell him goes in one ear and out the other." The staff of Kensington Palace was well known for the efficient and discreet manner in which they worked. In no time at all, Eddie was awakened, dressed, and ushered into David's presence before he had time to process what was going on. He still relied on his staff to shuttle him from place to place, unless it had to do with playing polo or sports cars. Eddie knocked on the door and entered. Apart from his bloodshot eyes, he appeared no worse for wear, dressed in a charcoal suit, navy tie, and a white dress shirt. David stopped his pacing. His cousin exchanged a nod with him. "Eddie, David." His cousin shuffled over to the sofa across from the fireplace. "Remain standing, eyes front," David ordered in a commanding tone he hadn't used since his army days. Eddie gulped. Like a shark, David circled him. "Let's take a step back in time to yesterday. I want you to have a good think. Consider every single thing you did from the moment you first awoke." Eddie's nose wrinkled. "Now look at me." David crossed his arms and stood with his feet planted apart. Do you recall where it all went wrong?" "No." Eddie lowered his chin and stared intently at the carpet. "Allow me to refresh your memory. 2 days ago, you rang me while I was in America and told me there was an emergency. I rushed back home to find the so-called emergency was you overreacting to being dumped. Is it starting to come back to you now?" Eddie's face drained of color. "There's still a few gaps in my memory, but I think I remember being sick, then waking up here." "A few gaps in your memory?" David pinched the bridge of his nose. "You are the Prince of Wales, the future king and head of state. What type of example or message does that send to the rest of the world?" Eddie continued to stare at the ground. "I've used every way imaginable to try and make you understand what an incredible privilege it is to be born into this family. You have the opportunity to make a real difference in the world, yet here you are instead, choosing to squander it away." David threw his hands up in the air. "If you wish to continue the path you're on, by all means, go right ahead. You're an adult. You're old enough to understand that every choice you make comes with consequences. From here on out, I'm finished cleaning up your messes." David leaned against Eddie's favorite recliner. "Your father's asked me to let you know when you meet with him in an hour, you'll have an important decision to make." Eddie slowly raised his chin and met his cousin's gaze. "What decision?" "You'll have to choose whether you'll remain the Prince of Wales or if you'll resign from your position and step back from royal life. The choice is yours." It's a lot to ask of him, but Uncle Reg is right. He has to decide on his own terms what his future is going to look like. "I could be plain old Eddie Wales? No more media, no more spotlight?" "Yes, you could." Eddie stood taller, opening and closing his mouth. "There was a woman last night, too, wasn't there?" He stumbled over to the sofa and sank down into it. "I crashed into her on the way to the loo. It's all starting to come back to me now." David rubbed his forehead. "She's a ballerina. You injured her foot. I never intended for anyone to get hurt." His blue eyes swam with guilt. "I know you didn't, but it's too late to change all that. It's already happened. I need to find her and apologize." Eddie's shoulders hunched. "You can take care of that after you meet with your father." His cousin went rigid. He's gonna kill me. What am I gonna tell him? What am I gonna do? David stood and walked over to Eddie. You'll face him like an adult and the soldier you're about to become. Own your mistakes and inform him of what your choice is going to be. Eddie held his head in his hands. I don't know if I can. You'll find a way. David patted his head. What if I make the wrong choice? He patted a hand on Eddie's shoulder. He placed a hand on Eddie's shoulder. You're still my cousin. No matter what you decide, I'll still be here for you. Silence filled the room. David cleared his throat. Time to play my trick card. You know, when I was in America, there was one project I was working on that wasn't tied to any state business. Eddie's head shut up. What were you doing? He asked slowly. I was working on securing the last couple of investors we need to launch our charitable foundation. You mean the kids in the children's ring at St. Mary's Hospital will finally be able to have the art and music classes? Yes. Eddie wrapped his arms around David. They're going to be so excited when I see them. I hate to break it to you, but I doubt they'd remember you. Eddie broke away. I visit them every week. They wouldn't forget me that quickly. It was David's turn to be surprised. Every week? Yeah, I go on Sunday nights. It's less busy. I like to keep the visits quiet so it doesn't stress the children out too much. Perhaps there's hope for you yet. So that was the end of chapter 15 of Dancing with the Royal. And poor Eddie, I don't know if we should feel sorry for him, is in trouble. So wait until you meet his father. We'll see what this famous King Reginald is actually like. So if you want to read ahead, by all means go, feel free to. If not, I'll see you next time.